Okay, today is September 11th, 2022. This is a part 2 update for today. And right now it looks like it's about 9:30 p.m. here on the West Coast. We have a temperature of 71 degrees here in the foothills of Los Angeles. The relative humidity is 89%. The barometer is reading 30.03 inches, and we have a dew point of 68 degrees. It's been very muggy here in Southern California the last couple of weeks, but particularly in the last 6 days. It's kind of like the East Coast, where you have a 75-degree dew point. So we're getting up there. It's 68 degrees for the dew point right now. Anyway, those are the current conditions at 9:30 p.m. All right, so now today we had some light rain, just very, very light rain. It probably wasn't, well, it was not measurable. None of the instruments here collected any rain, nothing measurable. So it is drizzling right now. Out in the desert right now, we can see that there is some thunderstorm activity. And there is a transmitter out by Edwards Air Force Base at WSR-88D. It's a KEYX, which is out here just right, it's actually right over here. That transmitter is located right out just east of Edwards Air Force Base right here on a road. And but there's nothing happening. We can see that transmitter is not breaking up much of the precipitation. We've got thunderstorms that are being allowed to rise up here right over Gorman, which is at about 4,500 feet, I believe. That's right on near the Interstate 5. This goes over the Grapevine and down into the Central Valley, which is right where Bakersfield is. So we go over the mountains and down, and you're into the Central Valley, which is where all the food is grown, most of it here in California. So it's a good sign here that we've got some rain, but we didn't get any rain here in the LA Basin to speak of. There's really nothing going on. We have probably some drizzle downtown. Right there, we see that. Okay, so that's the current conditions on the Doppler map. Getting back to the maps here, we see that this is the remnants of Tropical Storm K. And we still see low pressure swirling counterclockwise right here offshore. And in this loop, we can see what happens to all that moisture. It's just superheated and it dissipates towards the end of the loop right here. Now, I mentioned in the video earlier today that we should have had widespread rain in central Southern California, Nevada, even a southern part of Utah, and certainly in Arizona. None of that happened, and because of these WSR-88Ds. Now, I want to show real quick to the people out there that have never seen a WSR-88D. That's what these are right here. The radar is housed in this radome at the top of about a 6-story tower, so it's about at least 60 feet off the ground. And inside there's about a 12 to 13 foot dish that can pan and tilt. And these are the culprits here. These are being managed by not only the NOAA, but the Department of Defense. And there's a document I'm going to show in one of the following videos coming up next, in another video, just how these things work. All right, so this is a list of all the coordinates. I made a list. It's not in any particular order, but it is grouped by state. And that transmitter out by Edwards Air Force Base is listed here in the group of California transmitters right here. So Edwards is KEYX. That's just to the east of Edwards Air Force Base, and those are the coordinates. If you want to look these up on Google Earth, you can get a street view and see for yourself where all these transmitters are located. There's a list of them right here. Let me get the thing focused for you. I have to turn the brightness down so we can get the contrast real good on these satellite shots. But these are all the coordinates. You can just freeze frame the video and copy those down. All right. So back to the videos, we can see the satellite shots here in the long wave IR map. all of this moisture moving in was superheated. Right here, this is right over LA, all this, and look at here, over Nevada and Northern California, this stuff is just all superheated and it just evaporates. And that's kind of what we see in the jet stream during the winter months. By the way, we have a dry winter season, which has been forecasted by the Long Range National Weather Service. And so they've laid down the cards on the table. We know what's going to happen. They're able to predict months in advance what we're going to have, our weather, what our weather is going to be like months in advance in the winter coming up. And of course, they know this because of everything going on. The weather controllers are controlling the weather, and the playbook is already laid out. Okay, so there it is. We can see all that evaporation. None of this is explained or shown on television. The people watching the news are being lied to. Now here's the water vapor map. We can see some of that detail. This is we can see the side blowing out. There's a circular impression there moving out. Let's watch that again. Watch these rising columns of air. They blow that one apart. Watch what happens here. We see a circular imprint. And just like that, there's no rain. And so these criminals have stopped our natural rainfall and our ability to grow crops in the soil. Things are so dried out. Let's take a look at this up close. Here's California right here. This is a regional map. We can't get 200 frames on this one, but we can see some of the detail as it unfolds. There should have been just all kinds of rain over Nevada. Look at this one here is targeted. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of detail in this loop here. We do see the destruction of some of these rising columns of air. That's the point. So if you were down on the ground and it was sunset and you were watching with a camera, you would see this right here. This is an example of what happens at sunset when the light is just right. But like you can see here, the girl that took this in Costa Rica was well, this was taken right around sunset is what I'm trying to say. And so the clouds here are obscuring the sunset, but up at 35 and 40,000 feet, this is visible to the sun. It's being superheated, and we see the colors, and these are called rainbow clouds. That's what the people call them that have seen these. And you can find these on YouTube and various other platforms. So if you look up rainbow clouds, you'll probably find some examples just like this. But the scientists that are working for the, I call them scientists, that's with apostrophes on both ends, they've come up with a bunch of BS to try to explain away what's actually happening here. What's actually happening, though, is that the satellite transmitter has superheated the top of this rising column of air, and it collapses, and it destroys any opportunity for this thunderhead to develop and into a thunderstorm. And so with the sun setting, we get a perfect opportunity to see the diffraction and the rainbow that is caused by the billions of bits of microscopic water vapor blowing out. In this example here, we can see that ring. You've probably seen these as you're driving along, maybe up to 395 going to Mammoth Lakes, or, you know, over on the East Coast or anywhere actually where there's thunderhead development. You're going to see this happening, but you won't see the rainbows unless it's right at the perfect time where the sun is setting and it's casting a perfect light so that the people on the ground can see the, you know, look up and see what's actually happening. So that's a great example, and it actually proves that what I've been talking about on this channel for 6 or 7 years, and that is that satellite transmitters are systematically destroying thunderstorms and preventing rain. Because when this happens, the whole top of this thing pancakes down, and it looks like a giant saucer, and no rain and no thunderstorms. So that's how that works. Okay, so the rainbow map, we can see what's happening here. We took a look at that. We took a look at the Doppler map, and we took a look at the NexRad map there, the list. This is what I'll show next time. This is a specification for the WSR88D. This was put together in 1996. There's a lot of interesting information in this document. But this is 9/11, so let's take a look first, or rather last, at this document here. This is very important. It's the Holy Grail. It's the smoking gun on the dust samples that were collected around the World Trade Center property in downtown in Lower Manhattan, where the financial district is. Here we've got World Trade Center, WTC complexes right here. And these areas was where the residents collected samples. They were tested by these people up here listed, and their results were pretty dramatic, pretty scary. So what they found is that thermate was used in the destruction of the World Trade Center towers. In this document, this is a scientific document. You can find this document in the Open Chemical Physics Journal 2009, and I believe it's from July 31st, I believe is what that stands for. But that is probably the most important piece of evidence that was produced in 2009, and it was ignored by the NIST. That's our National Institute of Standards, which is a joke. They ignored all this evidence. As we scroll down, we see that the samples here, these are actual active pieces of thermate that were collected, unreacted thermate. It didn't actually burn up. They took these pieces and ignited them using a little torch. Here we see little spheres of iron, which is typically, this shows up under high explosives. You find all sorts of very interesting evidence when you look at stuff under a microscope, an electron microscope. And using mass spectrometry, they were able to determine specifically what was in these pieces of dust, the dust particulate. We can see it right here. We have spikes of iron, that's what this is, and oxygen. This is all interesting stuff because it proves that the official narrative is absolute garbage. So I would say, if you're interested, find this document and read it. Make copies and pass them around to your friends. This is a very interesting document. These guys went to great lengths, these scientists that put this paper together, to disprove the so-called conspiracy theories that were floating around. But in fact, it's conspiracy fact. It's not a theory. In fact, the narrative that we were told on TV is a theory. So this is quite interesting stuff. All scientific-based stuff. These guys had no axe to grind. No, they weren't paid to do anything at all. It's just, it is what it is. So there it is. Open Chemical Physics Journal, 2009. Next is this paper here. CIA veterans who challenged the official report. They called it a joke. The official account is a joke, cover-up. There it is. Very interesting stuff. Anyhow, there it is. This is the map once again. And it is lightly raining right now. And we will try to get another update here real soon. And we'll just leave it right here. Okay, that's it.